everybody. So we're going to start a new series called Boot Chewing. And the whole reason for boot chewing is just to chew the fat on boots. We're going to talk everything from about boot maintenance to picking a boot, talk about boot skins, everything like that under the sun about boots. So today we're going to talk about this big bass that came from Teeners in Sherman. I picked this boot up last night, and this was one of their closeouts, and I saw the boot, and the boot is actually named Blue Jean. And I was like, well, there might be a little bit more to this boot than just blue jean color. Most of the time, the name of the skin is to do something with what it looks like. And when boots sit on the shelf for quite a bit, they dry up. And you can see this one's a little bit dry. You can hear it also. So I thought, you know what? I sort of thought once we condition this boot, it'll probably change color. And once I did, it did. There you go. Once it was conditioned and hydrated the way it should be, it took on this beautiful, beautiful color like a blue jean. So it looks like when a blue jean gets wet and you get the very dark denim color fading back into a faded color. So one thing you'll ask is, how did you do that? And some people do know, some people do not. As you can also see, the scales are different. These have been extended, and I'll show you guys how to do that, and these have not. So when usual big bass come from the factory, the scales will not be extended. They're basically all like this. A lot of people choose to wear them like that. A lot of people do not know that the scales can be extended to or expanded to look like this. So let's go ahead and jump into it, and we'll start with step number one. All right, step number one is always condition your boot. And you have right here, this is our usual to go to, which is Lexol conditioner. And it's usually the gray bottle with a number 2 on it. The one thing you want to do is just go ahead and apply it. Apply enough on there. As you can see, automatically the boot starts changing color, where it starts soaking in all that conditioner. And the whole thing about this is not like a little dot and just go like that and, you know, work that into the whole boot. No, this boot has been sitting out there. So you got to remember, these boots, these are Anderson beans. So these boots have been sitting down in South Texas, which is really, really hot down there. So these skins have been sitting out in that heat. Once they're boxed up and shipped to the store, they go to the store. Sometimes they sit on the shelf for a couple months, 6 months, maybe a year. And that's how you get these dry skins. And what you want to do is put this, just lather it on pretty much. You're not going to damage the boot by putting on too much, you know, conditioner. So you want to basically feed that boot for all the time it's been sitting and just cooking and just drying out. So, and you'll get a lot of these colors back into the skin, because like I said, it's not that it's losing the color, it just dries out. And when it dries out, it dries to one single color. So you want to work that all over the boot. From your vamp, it's getting a little bit slippery there, it feels like a real fish. So you want to do your vamp to your counter and just get that boot really, really nice and wet for you. We will at one point dry it off a little bit, but what we want to do right now is just kind of awaken the boot. And get it nice and supple. You see, there's no more of that crunchy sound, which the scales have now honestly gotten a lot moist than they originally were, and which will allow you to do the second step, which is going to basically be expanding these scales. And now you can feel the boot. You can run your hand over it and know dot here. You like those boots, don't you? Look at those raspberry bass. And those scales have been expanded too, as you can see. So let's go ahead and leave this boot for a little bit. Let it soak up some of this conditioner. and I'll come back with the next step. All right, with the magic of television, that'll probably take a second. So go ahead and grab a towel. And as you can see, these scales automatically start expanding by themselves with just rubbing a towel. You can rub a towel and do that automatically. One thing I do like to do, as you can see, look at that. They'll start pulling them out automatically, and that's exactly what you want it to look like. Get this. Because what that does, it removes just enough conditioner and leaves it wet enough to be able to pull these scales out. And that is the kind of look you want right there, where it looks like it'll bring that color from underneath up. And so the other thing I like to use is, there's several brushes. So you have your regular horsetail brush that everybody uses to polish out your boot. I like to use a pig bristle brush. Pig bristle is a little bit more stiff than horsehair, and it'll give the brush enough of a hard bristle to be able to pull all these scales out in an even. There you go. See how it starts looking? Sort of looks like it's dragging scales, really. There you go. Look at that. From a bum to a millionaire right there. Look at that. Totally different boot than it was before. Before it was all one color. There you go. Just a little bit of Lexol. Let them condition. Get them back into basically not being so crispy critters over there. Once you do that, you'll be able to expand your scales and get that skin looking the way that skin should be looking originally, and the reason they have the name that they do have. So any questions, as always, just shoot it my way. I'm be more than glad to help you guys or explain something. Talk to y'all soon.